The gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Hice, is now recognized for 5 minutes. Mr. Hice.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I recall during the hearing on this same topic in 2019 that then I expressed my concern regarding TransDigm's business practices. It appeared clear that the American taxpayers were getting ripped off and that TransDigm should pay back the money. But here we are again going over the exact same situation. Committee Democrats here today are holding this hearing presumably to present themselves as being tough on things like waste, fraud, and abuse. But I find that extremely difficult for anyone with a reasonable mindset to buy into and to believe. I mean, here today, Democrats are going to hold up TransDigm as though they were some sort of trophy to be exhibited on the wall, when literally trillions of dollars have gone out the door from the Biden administration, much of it for dubious so-called COVID relief measures. Just by itself, for example, unemployment insurance fraud by itself could run into hundreds of billions of dollars. What is this committee doing about it to address those kinds of concerns? And yet here we are. The Democrats are bringing this company back as an encore, if you will, for practices that, yes, might be unsavory, but certainly not illegal. And even if the definition itself of excessive profits is pretty much has been made up by the Inspector General. It's not a matter of regulation, nor is it a matter of statute. This committee had jurisdiction over hundreds of billions of dollars in spending for state, local, and tribal governments through the Inflation Creation Act, that bill which others may refer to as the American Rescue Plan. But what has this committee done to look at where that money was spent? Does this committee have any idea what those monies were spent on and what impact it did or did not have? So if there's a problem here today, quite frankly, my opinion is that the problem is with the DOD's failure to do a better job forecasting its needs and administering its contracts. These underlying acquisition regulations leave DOD exposed for the kinds of tactics that we're here today yet again talking about. So with that, Mr. Tenaglia, let me throw one out to you. In the last 18 months since the last hearing on this same subject, what has DOD done differently to protect the interests of the taxpayers?
Thank you, Congressman. So since the last hearing, we've taken a number of steps to work with this particular company to refine the process we have with our contracting officers, to empower them to request information, to encourage them to request information, not just cost information, but the information that they need. And so there's a training aspect to that. We have a cadre of pricing experts that we've formed across the various components of the department, making sure that they understand this issue. And I would say that this issue presents itself, again, not just with this company, but across the board where we're negotiating commercial items. And a lot of the dollars we're talking about today, all the dollars we're talking about today, flow through prime contracts. My office has purview over looking at the largest negotiations the department has in the sole source arena. And in doing so, we focus very intently on the dollars that flow through the subcontracts. And so that is an area of emphasis, again, empowering our contracting officers to know what information they should be requesting, what areas they should. We're really about trying to get the best deal for the taxpayer.
So let me ask you this: has the DOD actually improved its ability to forecast its own needs and to avoid this one-off or small item purchases like we're talking about today?
So I've had those discussions with the Defense Logistics Agency, and we accept the IG's recommendation for alternative pricing strategies that do include some of the aggregation techniques that the ranking member mentioned. So we will be looking at that. It's balanced, however, with the carrying cost of inventory for the parts at DLA. As for many of these parts, they respond to the demand signal of the warfighter who presents the requirements, and DLA is the supplier of those products for the rest of the department. But there is potential for aggregated buys, and we'll look at that as an alternate.
So it's
The gentleman's time has expired, and